Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. Hope you like quick series because we got Celtics versus Cavaliers. Maybe not. Maybe they'll shock the world. We're going to break it down and dive into all the details as the Boston Celtics continue their what many feel as a inevitable march to the NBA Finals. And to do that, we got NBA futures analyst Brandon Anderson. As a reminder, download the Action Network app. Go to youtube.com/the Action Network. We've got live shows throughout the week, breaking down all sorts of cool stuff. On Action Island, I have a flamingo, a big floaty flamingo named Action Flamingo that judges you. It's a good show. Enjoy it. I wear ridiculous outfits. It's amazing. Check out all that stuff on the Action Network this week. All right, Brandon, we're not going to spend this. We have done like great in-depth episodes on most of the conference semifinal series. And then there's this one. The Boston Celtics taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, coming off of a 7-game series when you and I both were like, no, the Cavs are going to do it this time. They're going to take care of business. Cavs in 5. Yeah, they got it. No, that is not what happened. These Boston Celtics are minus 1,400 to win the series. If you like the Cavs to pull the upset, plus 800 series spread. Celtics minus 3.5. So to win it in 4-0 is sweeps plus 190. Celtics in 5 is minus 185. Celtics in 6 is minus 400. You can get Cavaliers plus 2.5. Do you have a best bet on the series?
I do have a best bet, and it is the first time I have ever made a best bet anything like this, and it may be the last time, but I actually came out thinking, I went from get this series out of here, I don't even want to talk about it for a second, to what is this number? This might actually be my favorite, most profitable bet of the second round. Give me the Celtics minus 1.5 on the series spread. Celtics in 6 or less at minus 390. Matt Moore, my best bet is minus 390. That's my bet. I don't care. I don't want to watch the series. I'm not going to watch the series. We're going to talk more about the series today than I'm going to spend watching it. But they're going to win the series in 6 games or less, and probably less, and I'm going to profit off of it.
Okay. We're on opposite sides here. If you bet $1,000 at minus 390, you can win $256.41.
Yep. And let me tell you, there are worse things you could do than spend the next 2 weeks catching 26% ROI on a thing that I think is well over 90% likely to happen.
Yep.
That's it. That's my cap. We'll explain it. We'll talk more about it, but that's where I'm at. What is your best bet for the series? How are you on the opposite side here?
Cavaliers plus 2.5, plus 150.
Okay, so I get confused on the plus 2.5. Tell me what that means. Tell me what in what or less, or what are we having?
They're going to win 2 games.
Got to win twice?
They got to win twice. They got to beat the Boston Celtics twice.
All right, so Celtics in 6. We both cash.
Yes, that is accurate. That is accurate. I'll go first. The disagreement, I will go ahead and preview this for you because Brandon and I have talked about this. This is the disagreement between Brandon and I. Is I'm okay if you don't want to cap it this way, but this is the way that I've capped it. Brandon doesn't like the way that I've framed it from a transitive property standpoint. He's like, that's not the way sports works. I don't disagree with that. I do think it works when we look at the history of the Boston Celtics and under Joe Mazzulla. Is this a better Boston team? Absolutely, 100%. Is this the best Boston team that we've seen under Jason Tatum? Absolutely, 100%. No question. Kristaps Porzingis is not going to be there for the first 4 or 5 games. Not going to be there. That's a significant deal because he's a big reason why this team was built different. They were great without him. I'm not saying that they weren't. I'm not saying they're going to lose this series. I'm not betting the Cavaliers to win the damn thing at plus 800. That matters, though. Last year, Atlanta Hawks. I said, the Hawks are going to win 1 game in the series. The Celtics will screw around and they'll give the Hawks 1 game. They gave them 2. Versus the Sixers, I took Sixers plus 2.5. I was like, they're going to give the Sixers 2 games. They gave them 3 and almost lost. Versus the Heat, I said they're going to give them 2 games. They're going to give this Heat team from a play-in tournament 2 games. They lost outright. Okay. Versus the Miami Heat, right? No Jimmy Butler. Duncan Robinson Limited. Tyler Hero, the primary initiator. Miami Heat. They couldn't sweep them. They gave him a game. The question that I do think is a good way to frame this is, do you think the Cavaliers are better than the Heat? And it's not like, well, if the Heat took one game off of them, then the Cavaliers will take 2 games off of them. That's not it. It's if the Celtics fucked around and gave the Heat 1 game, how many will they give this Cavaliers team? And my answer is 2. I think Boston rolls in game 1. Teams off of game 7 are horrific. I've already bet it. I think the Celtics are going to blow them out by 30. So I'm going to wait on this number, actually. And I'm going to take plus 2.5 after game 1. Because I think Boston is going to absolutely crush them in game 1. And then I'll take plus 2.5 on. Because after that, it's going to be like this number will plummet. I will get a much better number at Cavs plus 2.5 at that point. And honestly, you might be able to just like play the minus 390 plus 2.5 after that. And get a really good final position here. The Cavaliers are obnoxious. This is the one series where Joe Mazzulla is not at a coaching disadvantage. He's not outcoached here. JB's worse than him. That makes me nauseous to bet here. But the Cavaliers do have shooting. They have a lot of guys that can hit shots. You go like, Matt, look at how they shot versus the Magic. I'll be honest with you, like the Magic play a really tough physical brand of defense. The Celtics play a very precise, well-balanced brand of defense.
Yeah.
The Celtics are a better defensive team than the Magic, but they're not as physical, and it doesn't play the same way. It's just not the same type of series. The Cavaliers have a lot of ways to be able to switch and move around. The Jared Allen thing, if you're wondering if I'm like, well, KP's out, what about Jared Allen? Yes, Jared Allen was questionable for Game 7. Like, it was theoretical that he could play in that game. I kind of think he's probably back for game 3 in Cleveland, which is where I need him in order to get this bet. Like, I need to get at least 1 in Cleveland and hope for, if not to win both in Cleveland, then sneak out that game 5 when it looks like it's 3-1 and it's over. I could see that happening and then losing at home in game 6. I find the matchup not particularly great for Boston. I don't find it like bad. I'm just not like, oh yeah, Matt, like this really matches up like super well. Is Darius Garland going to live in hell with Drew Holiday or Derek White on him the entire series? Yes, he's going to be miserable. He's been miserable in the playoffs. Is Donovan Mitchell going to be in hell? I don't know, because Donovan Mitchell's a really great playoff riser and he's faced really good defenses and he still scores. Like Donovan Mitchell's really good. Like, he's really good. They have the ability to counter without Porzingis. They can counter Al Horford by playing Evan Mobley. They have enough athleticism. They've got some bench scoring. I will take the Cavaliers based off of the fact that I think that the shot variant Celtics will give up 2 games to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I'll take plus 2.5 after game 1.
Yeah, okay. Here's my case. I have no feedback from that. I think that's entirely possible. I still win my bet if that's the case, which is really like that's the case. Everything has to go the way that you said it, and I still win my bet is the case for my bet. The Cavaliers offense stinks. They're terrible. They're by far the worst offense left in the playoffs. They are one of the worst offenses of the century to have won a playoff series. If you look at the numbers, it's really bad. The Celtics have a lot of guys to throw at Donovan Mitchell, who I don't think is playing healthy right now. He had some big scoring games, but was very inefficient. A lot of the advanced metrics did not love him as much as the counting numbers. Mostly just nobody else can score, so I guess Donovan's shooting again. I don't see the Cavs scoring a lot of points. I don't see the Cavs having really any ammunition to take a game from Boston unless Boston gives it to them. On the other side of things, Cavaliers defense, very good. Against 2-pointers, that's what their defense is built around. Against threes, they're bottom 10 in 3-point percentage. The Celtics take the most threes and make the most threes, and our top 3 in 3-point percentage, they're going to bomb. And look, I know that's what you said. Okay, well, they're going to bomb and miss sometimes. They're going to do the other version of bombing. They're going to bomb and then lose a game. Fine. I'm agreeing with that. That's why I'm not betting the sweep here. The last series, the Celtics destroyed the Heat in what InPredict called the least watchable series in the last whatever they ran the data for like 2 decades. There was no drama. Nothing was watchable or interesting. I agree. That's why I didn't watch it. That's how unbalanced the series was. The one game the Heat won and were even remotely competitive in was 2 reasons. They had Eric Spoelstra. They cranked up the shooting variance. Cavs don't have Eric Spoelstra. They got whatever is the opposite of Eric Spoelstra. That's what the Cavs got here. So that ain't happening. And I don't see the shot variance crank dial going up because of that. That's a coaching adjustment anyways. Boston can only lose this series barring more injuries. I don't expect Porzingis at all this series. Barring more injuries, I think Boston will have to beat itself 3 times for me to lose my bet. Now look, I'm not betting the sweep. I have talked about Boston sweep or bet Boston sweep in that stupid Atlanta series and the stupid Miami series and all the stupid series. I'm sick of it. I don't want to sweat any more Celtics sweeps that they don't ever do, so I'm out. Maybe I'm giving up a plus 180 bet that should just be right smack dab in my Brandon Futures analysis department. I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want to go to dinner some night, get home in the middle of the third quarter and look and be like, oh, awesome. The Cavs have 73 3-pointers and they've made 61 so far. So glad I bet on this team again. I don't want it. I don't need any part of it. I just want to ignore it for 2 weeks and let them win in 6. I think Jared Allen is a bigger loss to the Cavs than Porzingis is to the Celtics for this series. And here's a few numbers to put all of my angst into a few numbers. Number 1, to your point, the Celtics, and we've done these numbers on buckets before, so you're going to hear them again. The Celtics, after they win a playoff game by more than 10 points, get way too overconfident and lazy. That's who they are. That's why I'm not betting a sweep. In that scenario, since 2020, they are 10-15 ATS after winning a playoff game by more than 10. So that starts already in game 1. And if you're right, and I think you are about game 1, it's going to happen again in game 2, and it's going to happen a lot. They're going to win games by a lot, and they're going to get overconfident, or they're going to show up and lay a giant egg, because that's what the Celtics do. I'm giving them credit for the stupid egg that they're going to lay later. However, when the Celtics blow a game and lose the game in that same time frame since 2020, when Boston is favored and loses, but is favored again the next game, they're 12-3 ATS in those games. So I don't have a huge hole. The Celtics aren't going to fall apart suddenly. They're going to take the night off and have a one-night stay in Cancun, and they're going to come back the next night and be like, well, that was stupid. We won by 50 tonight. Thanks for wasting our time, Boston. So I like how that evens back out for me over a long series if needed. Here's the other number. Sorry to JB Bickerstaff, who is not Eric Spoelstra. Here are the ATS histories for him. On the road in the playoffs, 1-8 ATS, 0-9 straight up. If the Cavs want to win the series, they got to get at least one of those. If you want to win your bet, I think you probably got to get at least one of those too. I don't think we're getting one. JB Bickerstaff as an underdog in the playoffs, 2-10 ATS, 1-11 straight up as an underdog. He's going to be an underdog all games in the series. I'm going to say all 7. We're not getting 7. His one win was by 1 point at home. The only time the man has won as an underdog a game. So JB Bickerstaff has, as an underdog in every game, 1-11 straight up, has to beat the Celtics 3 times for me to lose my bet. I don't see that happening. I don't see the Celtics losing 3 times and getting to game 7. And God help me if they do. I am never betting this team again. Celtics -1.5, win in 6 or less in a series that shouldn't even be happening, -390. It is implied 79%. I pulled out my binomial probability calculator. I looked at the odds. I did the math. That is a ludicrous number. You told me at the top of the podcast, Celtics are -1,400 to win the series. All I'm sacrificing is Celtics to win in game 7, which, quite frankly, if they get to game 7 against the Cavaliers, they probably lose that game too at this point. I don't even want it in my portfolio. Celtics in 6 or less, -390. Put my money away, 26% ROI. I'm going to start using my money to go out to dinner and skip the series and just let the profits happen without me.
I think it's great that you're laying that kind of juice, because some of the smartest bettors that I follow, not me, are like will take those kind of approaches, right? I don't want it because I'm just like I am kind of the opinion where it's such a big number to lay that I'm like, I don't know, like weird stuff happens, and I would rather play a smaller number on. And like what I may honestly do is if they lose game one, then the Cavaliers plus 3.5 probably shrinks from minus 250 down to like what, minus 180, minus 170. And then it's like,
And now you just need
okay,
one.
yeah, then I can probably just bet that one. And that's the same as like a lot of props. Like you're laying minus 180 on some props some nights. So I might just honestly just lay that instead of the 2.5.
Let me ask you this, Matt. I don't even know the math, so we're brainstorming together on this. The Cavs are such ginormous underdogs. You're betting on them to win at least twice, and what you just said, you're betting on them to win at least once on the plus 3.5. Aren't you better off just skipping this whole thing and just betting Cavs money line each time? Like not even rolling it over. Just bet Cavs money line each game and take the big win. And then once they get the win, you don't have to have your money on the next game when you know the Celtics are going to actually show up and win that game because they lost the night before.
Yeah, you're probably right. The mechanical parlay is probably the way to go. Especially because I don't like, here's the thing. That price includes the probability of them winning game one, which I am not pricing at 0, but right. I would put it close to 0.
Close to 0.
Yeah. And so if that's where I get to, then I should probably just like wait until after game one and then start playing. Because we talked about this on Sunday on Buckets with Fiddle too, about how on Pacers, I'm probably going to bet Pacers money line game by game after game one, and just go that route.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably going to be the way that I approach this one too. I will give out the plus 2.5, plus 150 as a series bet. And like, I'll bet it, but I think that probably I will play like it's small unit play on plus 2.5, just be like, hey, I got something on the series rather than like, I'll probably play pretty significant in game 2, 3, 4 on Cavs. And if they get none of those, then all right, we're done.
Well, quite literally, we're done. But here's my last word on this series. Like forever. I already looked ahead at our bucket schedule, and I'm scheduled to record with you, Matt Moore, next Tuesday afternoon, a week from tomorrow. And I know this because I specifically looked to see, might I have to talk about this godforsaken series again? And Wednesday night next week is game 5. And I am already anticipating I'm going to have to come up with some bet for that stupid game because the stupid Celtics won't beat the stupid Cavs and let me live my life. And I'm already preemptively mad about it. I have 8 days to stew in advance.
If the Cavaliers beat this, see, I the reactions online would be amazing if the Cavaliers beat the Celtics. But the reactions on this podcast, I was telling Jim Turvey, I was like, I told him this before you came back from your football hiatus. I was like, Brandon's going to love the Celtics every possible way. Like there's nothing, like they're too good on paper for him not to be like, it's gotta be Boston. It's an interesting question. I do think like, here's the thing. You talked about the bigger staff stuff. You push back a little bit when we were doing Knicks Pacers on some of the small sample stuff. The Cavs played a Knicks team that's pretty well built for playoffs. I think we can kind of say that now. And then they played a Magic team. And like, look, I am very dismissive of Cleveland here, where I'm like, there's no way they win the series. That's why I like your bet. Like, I like your bet minus 390. Like, I like your bet because I'm just like, there's no way the Cavaliers win the series. They don't have what it takes. They just don't. Like, when they couldn't get one game in Orlando is when I wrote off their season. I was like, come on, man. Like, you have to be serious. Like, you have to be a serious franchise. The fact that that they couldn't win one road game is a huge indictment. Like, you should beat an Orlando team that can't score at home. You should do that. Now you're gonna beat Boston. Like you said, you're gonna beat Boston on the road. I just continue to be like, I don't know, man. Boston doesn't do what we think it should. Boston doesn't do what the profile says it should. And I don't know why. I don't have the answer for you, but they don't. I'll also tell you this. if for whatever reason this gets into a 5-point game in the last 5 minutes, who do you want?
I don't know because I won't be watching.
Like, I want Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
By the way, I bet if it's in 5 points in the last 5 minutes, you'll turn it on. I bet you will.
You're probably
You're
right.
a sicko. All right, that's going to do it for Buckets. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. My thanks to David Payne for putting this up on audio, and Hutton Jackson, the video crew for youtube.com/The Action Network. Best bets tomorrow. We'll continue the NBA playoffs. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.